Welcome to Global Mind Talks. Let's explore the ideas and insights that shape better lives together.
You know what's crazy? Everyone's still going on about the 2020 election.
Yeah.
But what I find really fascinating is how people reacted afterward.
Right.
Like how different groups process the results. And what does it all say about the media we consume?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Today, we're going to deep dive into those post-election reactions.
Okay.
We're going to look at how both Trump supporters and his detractors tried to make sense of it all.
Yeah, sounds good.
It's like watching the same movie,
Yeah, it's like watching the same movie.
but coming away with totally different interpretations.
Right.
Right.
Totally.
So this YouTube video we found, it gives us a pretty strong picture of some Democrats really struggling to deal with Trump's win.
Interesting.
You see people talking about needing wine and ice cream to cope.
Yeah.
Some are like in total denial.
Wow.
There are even some folks suggesting that Trump supporters
Oh, wow.
should just up and leave the country.
Really?
It's pretty intense.
Yeah.
What do you
That's pretty wild.
What do you make of all that?
Well, it's definitely striking to see,
Right.
but we have to remember that when people's deeply held beliefs get challenged,
Yeah.
or when they experience a real sense of loss, they're going to have some strong emotional reactions.
That's true.
You know,
Yeah.
some folks might just struggle to accept an outcome that doesn't fit with how they see the world.
Right.
It's understandable in a way.
There's this one woman who says she deleted Twitter
Oh, to protect herself.
just to save herself. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of laugh, but a part of me thinks, hey, maybe she's got the right idea.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's more than just a funny story, though.
Yeah.
Her reaction really points to a bigger issue.
What's that?
There's this growing distrust of traditional media among certain groups.
Really?
They feel like they're not being heard, that they're misrepresented.
Okay, yeah.
And so they're looking for other places to get their information,
Right.
sources they feel they can trust more.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And that actually brings us to Charlemagne.
Oh.
The video highlights this moment where he, and remember, he's a big name in media himself,
Yeah.
starts to wonder if maybe the Democrats went overboard
Interesting.
with the whole Trump's a danger to democracy thing.
Oh, wow.
It's like he's suddenly seeing things in a different light,
Yeah.
like waking up to a new reality.
Mm.
What do you think's going on there?
Well, I think it's really significant.
Yeah.
Charlemagne questioning that accepted narrative, it suggests that the power dynamics in media are changing.
Interesting.
Figures like Joe Rogan, who operate outside those traditional channels,
Right.
they're gaining more and more influence. They're shaping the conversation in new ways.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's like they're playing a totally different game.
Uh-huh.
The video even quotes Van Jones.
Yeah.
He straight up admits that the Republicans were way ahead of the curve
In what way?
when it came to using podcasts and online platforms.
Oh, interesting.
While the Democrats were busy with traditional campaigning,
Right.
the Republicans tapped into a whole other audience.
Yeah, they really did.
It's pretty amazing.
So what do you think?
What do you...
What's the appeal of these alternative media, do you think?
Yeah, what is it about those platforms that's drawing people in?
I think a big part of it is that they offer a sense of authenticity
Oh,
and direct connection that's often missing from the mainstream outlets.
you mean like people feel like they're getting unfiltered perspectives?
Right.
They don't feel that same level of bias they might perceive in traditional media?
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a different kind of relationship.
And then you have the mainstream media.
Right.
It's like they missed the boat completely.
How so?
Well, the video shows these commentators on MSNBC
okay.
just dismissing concerns like economic anxiety, education worries.
Yeah.
They're calling them like low-level annoyances.
Wow.
And one commentator is even pushing for a more feminist media landscape.
It's like they're totally out of touch with what a huge chunk of the population actually cares about.
It makes you wonder
Yeah.
if they're even speaking the same language anymore.
Right.
Are everyday people's concerns actually being addressed
Exactly.
by the media they consume?
Yeah. Is anyone actually listening to them?
It's a question we all need to ask ourselves, really.
Seriously, like, think about it.
Yeah.
Are your concerns being taken seriously
Right.
by the media you watch and listen to?
It's an important question. Yeah, it really is something to consider.
And speaking of disconnect,
Okay.
this YouTube video we're looking at, it also highlights some pretty interesting commentary coming from CNN.
Oh, really? What kind of stuff?
Well, there's this one commentator who actually suggests that Kamala Harris should be nominated to the Supreme Court.
To the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
That's a pretty bold prediction, don't you think?
It does seem a little far-fetched.
Especially considering the need to regain control of the White House to even do that.
Right.
And wasn't Harris already?
She was like 60 at the time of this video.
Yeah, and they were talking about Vance having 2 terms after Biden.
Right.
Seems like a long shot,
Yeah.
to put it mildly.
It does feel like wishful thinking on their part.
Yeah, maybe.
But you know what really got me thinking?
What's that?
It was how much emphasis they put on the way the media framed the election beforehand.
Oh, interesting.
The video claims that a lot of outlets were presenting it as a really close race.
Oh, like it could go either way.
Yeah, even suggesting that Harris had a good chance of winning.
That's interesting.
It's like they were setting their own viewers up for disappointment.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
So I started thinking about the power of these media narratives. You know, how they can actually shape
Oh, absolutely.
how voters perceive things and
Yeah.
even behave.
Right, if people keep hearing that a certain outcome is like, it could definitely affect how motivated they are to vote.
Exactly.
Or even how legitimate they see the results if their candidate doesn't win.
It's like they were almost guaranteeing a meltdown.
No way.
The video even goes so far as to suggest that this kind of reporting might have been intentional.
Intentional.
Like they were trying to suppress the Trump vote.
Oh, wow, that's a serious accusation.
It is.
It really underlines how important it is to think critically.
About what we're seeing and hearing.
Yeah, when we consume media.
We have to be aware of the potential biases
For sure.
and even agendas
Absolutely.
that might be shaping the information.
It's not always what it seems.
Not at all.
Sometimes what's left out is just as important as what's included.
That's true.
You really have to dig deeper.
We can't just blindly accept everything we're told.
Exactly.
We have to be willing to caution assumptions, seek out different perspectives,
Yes.
and most importantly,
What's that?
think for ourselves.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah, you really have to be your own filter.
Totally. So it sounds like we need to be both open-minded and discerning at the same time.
Yes, exactly.
We need to have these respectful conversations, even when we disagree.
Right.
But at the same time, we can't be afraid to stand up for what we believe in
Yeah.
and call out harmful rhetoric.
Absolutely. You have to draw the line somewhere.
It's a tricky balance to strike.
It is. But it's so important for a healthy democracy.
I agree. So where do we even begin?
Well, I think one crucial step is to diversify our media diet.
What do you mean by that?
It's about breaking out of those echo chambers we were talking about,
Okay.
exposing ourselves to a wider range of viewpoints.
Even the ones we don't agree with.
Especially those, actually.
Tough.
It can be, but it's so important.
Why?
Because it helps us challenge our own assumptions. It forces us to confront different perspectives.
Okay.
And ultimately, it makes us more informed and well-rounded individuals.
I like that.
So yeah, seek out sources that challenge you.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone.
So it's like trying new foods.
Exactly.
You might be surprised by what you discover.
You never know. You might find your new favorite thing.
But with so much information out there,
Right.
how do we know what to trust?
That's where critical thinking comes in.
Oh, okay.
You can't just passively absorb everything you see and hear.
Yeah.
You have to question the sources. Consider the author's biases.
Okay.
Look for evidence-based reporting
Got it.
and cross-reference information with multiple sources.
So basically, we need to develop our own BS detectors.
Exactly. We all need a good BS detector.
I love that.
It's an essential skill in today's world.
It really is. But it's not just about what we consume, right?
No, it's also about how we interact with others.
Especially those who see things differently than we do.
Absolutely. Civil discourse is crucial.
What does that look like in practice?
It means engaging in conversations with respect.
Even when we disagree.
Yes, even when you completely disagree.
Okay.
Listen actively, try to understand the other person's perspective,
Got it.
and avoid personal attacks or inflammatory language.
So it's not about winning an argument.
No, it's about understanding.
Understanding each other.
Exactly.
Building bridges instead of walls.
I love that.
But what about the people who just seem intent on spreading misinformation
Oh, the trolls.
or sowing division?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
How do we deal with them?
Honestly, sometimes the best approach is to just disengage.
Don't feed the trolls.
Exactly. But if you do feel compelled to respond, do it with facts, logic, and a calm demeanor.
Okay.
And be prepared to walk away if the conversation becomes unproductive or toxic.
Don't waste your energy.
Exactly. Save it for the conversations that matter.
So diversify our media diet,
Yeah.
engage in civil discourse,
Yes,
and develop our BS detectors.
that's the trifecta.
Sounds like a solid plan,
It is.
but it's also a lot of responsibility.
It's true. It's not easy.
It can feel kind of overwhelming.
I understand, but it's also incredibly empowering.
How so?
Remember, we're not just passive consumers of information.
Right.
We have agency. We have a choice.
In what we consume.
Yes. In how we interact with others.
Okay.
And in how we contribute to the broader conversation.
So it's about taking ownership of our role
Exactly.
in shaping the media landscape and the future of our democracy.
It all comes down to being informed, engaged, and responsible citizens.
I like that.
It's not just about our own individual choices.
It's about the bigger picture.
Exactly.
This has been such a thought-provoking deep dive.
It has been interesting, hasn't it?
It really has given us a lot to think about
A lot to
and even more to discuss.
Definitely.
So to our listeners out there, we leave you with this.
Okay, fire away.
Be curious, be critical, be respectful, and be engaged.
Great advice.
The future of our democracy depends on it.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
That's it for today's chat. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to follow Unlimited Talk so you won't miss the next episodes. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment rate, and share it with your friends. Got questions or feedback? Drop us an email at the address in the description or reach out through our social media channels.